So before I start this, I know there's going to be a lot of negative comments, um, especially with like YouTube and stuff. I'm not into all this YouTube things. I'm just putting a video out there, hoping that it'll go viral. But the more comments that you make on a video, especially negative ones, causes telephone. So if you make a negative comment and you laugh, ha ha ha, anything negative, then you're only going to cause me to progress more because other people are going to say, well, let me see what this guy's talking about. Why he's blah, 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 blah. You understand? It only causes telephone. And number two, if you make a good comment about a video, like I believe you, then what you're doing is you're like agreeing with me. One in a million people are going to say, yeah, this guy is right. I agree with him because they're thinking the same way I think. So I can't be wrong, but I can't be right at the same time either. But if I tell you a good enough story and I put myself in the right perspective and I give you enough motivation to listen to the story for like less than 10 minutes, then you will agree with me. And not only will you be one in or two in a million people that agree with me, but I've influenced you. That's why I'm doing this video. JonBenét was murdered by Bill McReynolds. Bill McReynolds is a smart man. He's an influencer. He caused this whole commotion. Go back to day one, week one of the crime, before it hit the media. By the way, Bill McReynolds is a journalism professor. He's the one that teaches people how to talk to the media. Simple. Not only is he an influencer, but he's very good. Go to the killing. Think of yourself as a criminal. I'm going to put myself in the position of the killer of JonBenét Ramsey. I did not kill her. I was a police officer back when she was killed. I was in Florida. I did not kill JonBenét Ramsey. Let me state that right now so I don't get myself in any trouble. But I'm going to think like a psychologist. I took psychology in college, and I took law enforcement in college. I'm going to think like a criminal. It makes a good criminal to get away. Not a cop. This is not a cop's crime. The cops are not covering up things. This crime is baffling. It's what I intended to do. I waited till the Ramseys were gone. And while they were at their party, I wrote up this note. Ambidextrous. So you'll never find out. I've looked at Patty's mail. I've had plenty of time in that house to go through Patty's mail. I have a key. I have the alarm code. I'm Santa Claus. I'm Santa Claus. Who's going to rob the house? Santa? No, don't blame Santa for robbing the fucking house. Santa walked in that house when they were gone. And he took that pad out of there. And he wrote that note all by himself. Maybe he copied it, he did whatever. He's smart enough to write it like Patsy. Like her handwriting. He's smart enough to write it like a woman. Attention, Mr. Ramsey, the Southern gentleman you are. Movie quotes, the whole 9 yards. Listen, this man was smart enough to write this note. He had 4 hours to do this. 4 hours, dude. I would do it if I was Santa Claus. I walked in that house, I would have 4 hours to write that note. Perfect timing. Trust me, I'm smart enough to get away with this. Boom, put it back. Get the note placed wherever I'm going to put that note. Then I go. And, okay, let's add the pineapple in there. Yeah, I gave JonBenét pineapple. That would be a fantasy, to bring her downstairs and give her pineapple and milk. I'm not going to leave my prints. I have gloves. JonBenét's not going to leave her prints because she's only going to take a couple of bites. Okay, so let's put in the pineapple. But the point is, the pineapple was eaten by Burke and given by Patsy to Burke. Before they went to the party, the milk was curdled in there with the pineapple. And if the pineapple's involved in the crime, then that means he used it as a sedative and as an anti-inflammatory. Come on, look it up. It's simple. Plus milk helps you sleep. But anyways, point one is, so I know that JonBenét is going to be awake when they get home. She's going to wake up for Santa Claus. Remember that. So I already go down to the basement and I search the basement. Now, nobody goes in the basement. People are scared of the dark. People are afraid of the dark. Little kids don't go down to the basement without being coaxed by somebody they know. No 6-year-old girl is going to go to the basement. So he went to the basement to grab the paintbrush. He kept one piece as a souvenir and he made the garret out of it or whatever, and he left it there. And then he took the train tracks and the taser and he left it there. And the baseball bat, he left it there. He had plenty of time to get that baseball bat. The baseball bat was in the cellar. It's winter. The bikes were down there. The presents were probably down that area. Then he staged the area to make it look like somebody went in and out. So there's cobwebs. Nobody went in and out. And there was plenty of leaves in those rakes. You look at the pictures, there's plenty of leaves there. Nobody went in and out that window. He staged it, and he scuffed that same fucking boot mark, one boot mark scuff on a windowsill. On purpose. He staged that little suitcase right there. He was not going to take JonBenét out of there. That was a staged suitcase because they were going on vacation the next day. Then the window opened, and there's no footprints. And even with footprints outside and cigarettes, he's not going to leave all that stuff. He didn't leave DNA. So then he waits, and he sets it up, and then he has been to put one boot print of a high-tech boot. Pretty good. One print. Leaving one print. That's going to drive the cops crazy. It's going to drive the cops crazy. One footprint. Wake up and smell the coffee. He set it up. But he got in that house with no footprints from the front to the basement. Nobody noticed any dirt because he took his shoes off. Everybody takes their shoes off up in Colorado to keep the rugs clean in a nice, rich house. He was smart. He took his shoes off at the front. There's going to be no trace. He was in his Santa suit. He's not stupid. He was in his Santa suit. That's what I would do. I'd go in my Santa suit. Because if anybody saw me going in and out, they're not going to believe it. It's Christmas. Holy fuck. I'm high. I saw Santa coming out. Nobody heard her scream down from the basement across the street. That's impossible. It's impossible to hear her scream down there if the parents didn't hear her screaming. No. Yeah. Just pay attention to the real clues. He didn't do it that way. And he waited till they came home. And John and Patsy went home, and, typical. They shut the lights off, set the alarm. It doesn't matter if they set the alarm or not. I've got the codes. I've got the key, and I got the codes. I got it from the maid. I gave maid a little money because Christmas time, Santa always gives a gift to everybody around them to make them look good. So nobody knows that I actually have this key and code. Like, in their right mind, they're not thinking that I have this. I've already psychologically made them appear it. So then I wait for them to come home. They go to bed, and that's when JonBenét gets up because I creep up the stairs. Right? Hey, John, come on. Hi, Santa. Come on. I got your present. You did? Yes, come down the stairs. And he leads her down the stairwell so she gets a little tinsel in her hair. Who cares? It's 2 a.m, 1 a.m, 12 midnight. Right before Christmas. I'd do it right before Christmas, too. And I would take her down, and then I would take her to and say, hey, come on down to the basement. I got you a new bike down there, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell your brother Burke. Now, Burke is in his room playing video games. He got a Nintendo 64. I know he's preoccupied. Burke was playing Nintendo 64. He's got autism. He is not interested in anything that's happening in that house, and he's not listening to anything in that house. She's leading him. I'm leading her downstairs as Santa Claus. I go downstairs as Santa Claus. Choke her. Slows her blood down. Slows her blood down a lot. Especially if I fed her pineapple and milk, which slows your blood down. She's also tired. It slowed her blood down. She was napping. Santa woke her up. She's surprised. Yay, Santa came. She knew she had to be asleep for Santa. Otherwise, she wasn't going to be awake looking for him. She was supposed to be asleep. Remember, all kids learn that Santa's asleep. He's choking her because she slept already. Her blood flows down. Then he smashes her on the head with the bat. That was post-mortem smash because of the amount of blood that's in the body. The blood slowed down. She didn't have a lot of internal bleeding, so she was choked and stimulously hit it with the bat. But her blood was already slowed down, so that could have been the reason that the stimulation between the bat hitting her head and the choking. If I was a killer, that's how I would have done it. It's common sense. They choke her. Then the taser thing, well, that might have been just thrown in there to throw off the police. And then they'll throw in the railroad tracks, too. So now this crime is getting really good. It's like the game of Clue. I wrote the note upstairs on Patsy's note, and I made it look like Patsy did it. And she was blaming John, but then John did it because the child was molested. But the child wasn't molested a lot. The child was molested a little bit. This is not a pedophile. But then I decided to put duct tape over her because there's no saliva on the duct tape, and there's fibers on it. And those fibers are from Santa, not from Patsy's red shirt. In the morning, she got up in the morning, panicked. Exactly where I put that ransom note. And you know why I put that ransom note on those stairs? Because those stairs lead towards the laundry. She's going to get up in the morning. She's going to make her coffee. And then they're getting ready to go on a trip. What's a better place to put it next to the dirty laundry? So Patsy's checking to see if she can throw her hair things in the laundry or whatever they're going to throw. That laundry was right there. You could see it in the pictures. And that's when she found the note. And that note was placed there on purpose because she's now getting awake. I set it up so she's in her sleep mode, just waking up, and I made it really, really, really long ransom note. I made it really long for a reason. First of all, this is a serial killer going in there. I am the serial killer going in there. I did overkill. I choked her, banged her, put duct tape over her, tied her hands up, and wrapped her up like a baby, like a female serial killer would do. But it's a male crime, all that bashing in the blood, but no blood, and no trace of nothing. Now, the DNA is excluded from this case because the DNA is on our long johns, and she could have had them on at the party. Nobody really knows. The DNA could have been in her bed already. We don't know where the DNA came from. It's not from the killer. The killer got away with this crime with no other DNA anywhere else. No, this is a very smart killer. This is what a very smart killer would do. Leave only specific DNA in a crime scene. And then he leaves her down there wrapped in a blanket, and he just leaves the ransom note right there, takes the bat out with him, puts it out the window from in the house, puts the bat somewhere outside, leaves a flashlight. Maybe he left a flashlight. He didn't need a flashlight. Nobody's going to see the lights going on and off, the Christmas lights and stuff like that. No. He didn't need to hide in there. That's a big house. He could go anywhere. He didn't need to do anything. He didn't need the lights. He could have had a small pen light to write that note. It doesn't take much to walk around a house with a little tiny pen light and rob somebody's house. This was not a ransom note kill. This was not a ransom gone wrong. This is not my intention. My intention was because I'm a serial killer and I have to kill because of PTSD. Bill McReynolds walked into that house because he's killing a 6-year-old girl that reminds him of his sister who was killed. He did it on Christmas because his fantasy was to be Santa Claus. The things that the little girl didn't get to get. So that little girl died because Santa Bill's sister died. It's PTSD. It's the perfect serial killing. He's intelligent enough. If I can dream up this story and make him a criminal, I'm not crazy. I have a high IQ. This would be a movie for me. I'm an actor. This is a movie. This JonBenét made it famous. He is a serial killer that drew attention to himself. He put himself in that crime. He knew he was going to be blamed. He can't be blamed for it. Then he made attention to himself after with Katie Couric. And if you also listen very carefully, and I'll end this very quickly, during one of the first interviews with, I believe, Lou Smith, said, "This is an intruder. Who do you think could have done this?" And John Ramsey himself said, Bill McReynolds. I'm telling you, Bill McReynolds killed JonBenét Ramsey.